大拜阿玛布拉蒂拉巴高阿根平安，我是萨摩尼，欢迎来到佛摩萨学院。今日真欢喜欢迎一位好朋友，是我长久以来的朋友。伊来自南非，已经住伫台湾20几年。第一来台湾无偌久的时间，就拄到921的大地震，所以自迄个时阵开始，伊就真重视防灾避难的一寡观念甲措施。今日就是要邀请 Tobie Openshaw 来甲咱分享伊一寡防灾避难的经验，同时嘛要来展示伊一部分，敢若一部分尔，伊的一寡物件会当来做防灾的准备。所以首先我甲大家说明甲强调，今仔日毋是要来教大家讲安怎做避难的准备，因为每一个人的需要条件甲拄到的状况拢无共款，所以伊今仔日是要来分享伊家己这20年来的经验，互大家做参考。每一个人会当按伊的经验内底来做学习，所以我计划就无搁讲，咱来欢迎 Tobie Openshaw。Welcome, Tobie.
Hi, thank you very much. Hello, and Mali Mali, or Mahalo.
You can speak Taiwan and also Dayan.
A few words, yeah, some Dayan, some Saisiat, yeah.
Tobie has spent more than 20 years in Taiwan's Aboriginal tribe, so he can speak some Taiwanese Aboriginal language. So, Tobie, you are a good friend of mine, but you're still a mystery to our audience. Can you say something about yourself, like where are you from and what brought you to Taiwan several years ago, or many years ago?
You're right. Yeah, my name is Tobie Openshaw. I've been in Taiwan for 25 years now. What originally brought me here was an airplane.
True, of course.
Right?
You don't come to Taiwan in a boat, right?
No, I didn't row here, yeah. But
swing.
Oh, too far. So yeah, no, in South Africa at that time, things were not going very well. And so I saw a new opportunity in Taiwan. And so I came here and I've never been sorry, not for one day. I absolutely love it here. And I'm a documentary filmmaker. And so over the last about 12 years of the time that I've been here, I've been working mostly with Taiwan indigenous people, talking about their contemporary issues, their historical issues, culture, all of those very rich and very fascinating layers that we find here in this Taiwan society.
Mm-hmm. So when did you come to this island?
So I came here in 1998.
1998.
Yeah.
So this year is
It's 25. Yeah.
25.
Yeah.
Wow, it's a very long journey in
It's
Taiwan.
the longest I've lived in one place in my life. Yeah.
Wow. So you spent a very long journey in Taiwan, and then you also spent many years in that kind of disaster preparedness.
Mm-hmm.
Can you say to our audience, why do you want to do this kind of preparedness?
Well, so when I was a kid, about 13 years old, I would read these books about people surviving on a boat in the sea or in the desert or, in the ice. And so those stories were always very interesting to me.
Okay.
And so as a kid, even I made myself a survival kit in a can that had fishing line and fishing hooks and so things like that, So it's always been like kind of a hobby for me.
Okay.
But then,
you was a kid?
Since I was a little kid, yeah.
Okay.
But then I lived in Namibia for 6 years. So Namibia is a desert country just north of South Africa. Mm-hmm. And I would often, with my friend, go and drive with his four-wheel drive in the desert, and we stayed there for a week. And so then it was very real that you had to prepare in case the car breaks down or you have some problem. Mm-hmm. And you have to make sure you have enough water, you have enough food, you can keep warm. All those things you have to prepare before the time, Mm-hmm. And so then coming to Taiwan, my first experience here of a major disaster was in 1999 with the big 9/21 earthquake.
Oh.
And so that was really quite significant. I was living in Taoyuan at the time, on the 12th floor of the building. Mm-hmm. And that was my first experience waking up and the whole building is going, you know, and you think the building's going to fall over any moment, right?
Have you experienced earthquake in South Africa?
Little bit, very small. Not, it's very rare in South Africa.
It should be a shocking experience.
Yes, absolutely. And so at that time, my kids were small. We had to get them out of the house. We stayed in the car, and we slept in the car overnight. The next day, still staying in the car because the building was still shaking every now and then. And so in that experience then really reminded me that we need to be prepared for these kind of things because they happen, you know. Also, as a filmmaker and a journalist, I have many friends who have spent time in war countries or during that big natural disasters like Japan, earthquake, famine, all those kind of things. And so hearing their stories, again, reading more and really thinking about myself gave me the time to really develop what is it you really need in the time of a disaster, and what can you keep with you that is small, compact, lightweight, but can help you to overcome the difficulties in a disaster situation.
Okay, so I can say you got some experience that is quite special or extraordinary.
No,
so
it's just over
you have a habit and you bring this habit to Taiwan. Then after just 1 year you arrive Taiwan, you face the most dangerous, most harmful disaster in Taiwan history. The big earthquake, 921大地震. And you also have some friend who has to face this kind of danger in a war, in the battlefield.
Right.
So that's why you got a very key awareness of this kind of disaster management or preparedness, right?
And then, of course, as a South African man of that period, I also did 2 years national service, military service in South Africa. And
is that compulsory?
Yes. So we had 2 years compulsory military service, and we were in a war situation. We kind of had a war on the border and a war internally as well. And so there was also a very well-developed civil defense structures in South Africa to help prepare people for disaster. And so, yeah, all of those experiences have brought me to where we are today. You know?
Wow, that is something special to hear, especially in Taiwan, because Taiwan is an island that is frequently hit by natural disaster.
Absolutely, yeah.
But you know, you probably know most of Taiwanese are very kind of have a feeble awareness of disaster management. So you are kind of special, especially when you are in Taiwan. But as you also can see the news that on the TV every day talking about the war is coming closer and closer. I'm wondering if this kind of disaster preparedness in peacetime can be also useful during wartime.
Right. Yeah, that's a great question. So firstly, you know, most people say, oh, Taiwanese are not prepared. And it's true to some extent, but I don't really agree 100%. I feel that Taiwanese people don't like to talk about it too much, right? Because it feels like bad luck, right? I understand that. But what I have seen here as a journalist, you know, I covered, for instance, the building that fell over in Tainan during that earthquake. And what I have seen is when there is a disaster, Taiwanese people come together. And there is, during that time, I counted about 2,000 people around that building, all involved with getting out injured people, making sure the building is stable, handing out drinks, hot drinks because it was very cold, people even handing out hats and gloves. On another side, there were people praying for the dead. You know, so Taiwanese people do have the capacity to come together and help each other when there is a disaster. So I have hope that Taiwanese will come together under any circumstances. So to your question about war, yes, again, people don't like to talk about it, but I think we have to talk about it. As I always say, we hope for the best, but we prepare for the worst.
For the worst,
you know? And so, yes, absolutely. All of the things that I have in my bug-out bag is useful to me, whether it's bombs falling or whether it's a big earthquake. You know, the things that will help you get out of your house, get to a safe place, have something to eat to sustain yourself there, some first aid, all of those kind of things are useful in any kind of disaster.
Yeah. When it comes to war, then we say we have to prepare in advance. Then the first question is that what will we face when the war break out at the beginning?
Right.
Because this is that will determine what should we prepare,
right.
how we prepare.
Absolutely.
So what will we face when the war break out?
Right.
Yeah.
So, of course, there's no way to know exactly which way the war will start and how it will go, right? We can't.
Let's say
100%.
like average people in big cities.
Okay.
This is a situation that we are all in this kind of situation, right?
Okay, yeah. All right, so I think, but what is likely is that first there will be a blockade. That means that the enemy will try to cut off food supplies, electricity, those kind of things in Taiwan. So think about that. That's what you can prepare for right away. Make sure that in your house you have some means of generating electricity to at least keep your phone charged. You know, like I have a solar panel that you can put in the sun and it will charge your phone. That's like a very basic thing, right? You can also consider having a generator in your house to charge your refrigerator. And then food, you should have a food supply in your house, an emergency food supply that will keep you going for 3 months. That's the time that we say, if you are completely trapped in your house, you should be able to survive. So it doesn't have to be the best, you know, variety of food. I just have cans and cans of corn, beef, fish, vegetables, pasta sauces. They can last for a long time. There's a cupboard in my house. Boom, there's my emergency supply of food. I buy it all at the same time. And I make a note on the door, when did I buy it? Because every 2 years, I need to cycle it out. So because it expires, right? Although expiring food is not really such a big problem even, you know, because a can of food can actually last for 20 years.
Wait a minute, let's go to the detail later in. But as you say, we will probably face blockage. And also face some problem of a shortage of food and also the damage to the infrastructure. And there is another thing that we're going to face is a missile attack. How about missile attack? When the missile attack was launched, then how could I react? As average people, I live in a building that should be a very tall building, like in Gongyu in the department. So how can I react? What can I decide to do? Can I have something in mind in advance?
Yes, absolutely. So there are three things to look at. The one is inside your house. If you are really trapped inside, look for a room in your house that has the least outside windows. Maybe there's, like in my house, my center bathroom in the house has no windows. So that I know is the safest place, because if there are explosions outside, the most important danger we know is flying glass and flying pieces of shrapnel, right?
That is killing people.
That's killing people, that, you know, damages, injures people very badly. In fact, when I was in the military in South Africa, I was at the site of a bomb explosion, a car bomb that exploded in South Africa. And everybody there had cuts from glass, from flying glass. So that's the main thing, is get away from the windows. Also having curtains in front of your windows help, so that even if the window breaks, it's not glass just flying straight into your house. So
curtain is useful.
Curtain is useful.
Can I tap on the windows? Is that useful?
No, that has now become, some people say it's a good idea, some say it's really not a good idea. It's possibly not a good idea, because that means the whole window could come out and, you know, slice you, you know. So no, the heavy curtains in front of the window is probably a better bet. Okay, so curtains in front of your windows, a room in your house that is safe where everybody can come together. All right. So now it's boom, 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 boom outside. You just wait for that to to die down, then you can evaluate how bad is the damage. Is there any damage in your house? What do you do? The second possibility is most buildings who have a basement for parking downstairs are designated in Taiwan as a bomb shelter.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
So people get
theoretically. Theoretically.
But the thing is people misunderstand because there are two different things. One is bomb shelter and one is evacuation shelter.
Yeah, true.
And so the bomb shelter is just a place to get underground.
Yeah.
So in my building, in the bomb shelter, there's nothing there. It's just cars parked there. So it's just to get away from street level where there's explosions, right? So temporary. But if I need to go there, I will grab my go bag because I have water, I have food. I can make a little something there for people, warm drink, you know, because morale, keeping people calm, everything is also very important, you know. So these are all things that I have, but we have to think about the mental preparation as well.
Yes.
You know? But okay, so get down in there, bombing is over, now your building is damaged. Now you can go to the evacuation center.
So this is the second level.
Right. Yeah.
Once your house is not safe anymore,
that's right. Yeah.
then you can decide if you want to evacuate to that shelter.
Right.
Nearby, in the nearby shelter.
That's the most, usually the closest to you, right? And so in those
like
shelters,
what? Like what?
Well, usually it's like in gyms, in school gyms or sports centers or things like that. So my one is in Tianmu, it's at the baseball stadium, you know. So you've seen photos of people in gyms with beds and they they're usually just sleeping bags. So they prepare that, but it's really an emergency thing, right? So if you have an option to get out of the city to somewhere else where it's safe, it's better, right?
But this is a higher level.
But that's another level, yeah. So this is, first thing, you can go to the evacuation center, and especially if you are injured or one of your family members are injured, then yeah, go to the evacuation center. They will have medical supplies there. They will have medical people. Don't try to call the ambulance in the middle of a thing like that because they're going to be too busy, right? So go to the center where you know there are people already waiting there with medical.
So what should we bring to the shelter?
So now it depends on what are your options. Are you thinking that you may have to stay there for a long time? My feeling is I'm going to go there, say, hi, this is me, this is my name, here's my ID, I'm okay, just write it down, okay, bye-bye. I'm not going to bother the system and take resources away from other people now. And then I will go to my bug out spot, you know? But if you have to go there, yes, you're going to get something to sleep on the floor and, you know, maybe a sleeping bag, and there will be some food brought there.
Yeah.
But so anything else that you can bring that will make it more comfortable for you, right? This is not survival, this is comfort. These are comfort items, you know. So again, something to wash with, to clean your hands with, brush your teeth. You know, those things, it feels terrible after 2 days of no.
Because that shelter is not far from your house, right?
You know.
You can still go back to your house.
Maybe, you know. But if I grab my bug out bag, then I know I can go and stay in the shelter for several days and I'll be okay there too. You know, I have a towel, I have things to clean myself, I have some food which I can share with people, I have something to drink, I have some coffee, you know, all those kind of things to just make it more comfortable.
So let me summarize what you said. First of all, you probably should stay at home if your house is still safe at that time. And then once you find that this is a second level, once you find your house is no more safe, then you must decide that which shelter nearby then you can go to. So that means in advance you must figure out where is your nearby shelter.
Absolutely. You can't on the day say, oh my God, where because your phone maybe is not working, right? You need to know where it is and what are the routes, how to get there. So for my shelter, I know if I have my car, if my car is working okay and I can drive, this is my route there. If I have to walk, then this is my way to get there, you know, or my bicycle, right? So you have think about different options of transportation also.
So once the first two level of reactions is going to exhausting. Like even the shelter is full of people.
Right.
It's so crowded.
Overflowing, yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned the third level of reaction. That is leave the city you live.
Right.
For a safer place.
Right.
Can you say something about it?
Sure. So, you're talking about levels, but remember that bugging out to your safe place might be something you do very early, before the bombs start falling.
Yeah.
Because
you have to prepare.
You have to prepare for it, and you have to read the signs.
Yeah.
And if you see, okay, no, things are coming here, then it's better to go early, then you can come back. Yeah. But if you get stuck in the city with no transportation, because we saw this in the Ukraine, right? Ukraine was a very good example for us for the kind of things that happen during a war situation. And we saw hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people try to get on a bus, try to get on a train, get in their cars and get on the road, and everything just can't go anywhere.
It's a desperate thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you do not want to get caught in that. So it's better often to stay put for a while and let that ease out before leaving then. But the ideal is to leave very early, to be one of the first to leave.
Yeah.
And now where do you go?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you are a Taiwanese, you are indigenous, you have a community, right? Probably in the city and your village, your bulwo, right? They cannot chase you away there. If you arrive there, they have to take you in, right? I'm a Waigwaran. For me, it's different. So what I did is over the last 12 years, I've made friends in one particular village, which I'm not going to say where it is, and I have made good friends with those people. I support them. When there is a typhoon, I drive my car there and I bring some supplies or whatever. If they're laying a pipe, I'm helping. I've made film projects, whatever skill I have, I give to them. And it's not because I want something from them. They are wonderful people and they have been really, really good to me. Yeah. But the point is I have done the groundwork so that if I arrive there, they are not going to say, who are you? What are you doing here?
Because they already take you as a member of their bureau, the community,
and they know that
they will accept you.
Useful, that I have skills, that I have equipment that I can contribute to the community. I'm not just coming there and saying, "Oh, help me, please." I'm coming to contribute something, and so that is the best, in my opinion, the best possible way to prepare your what we call a bug out spot. So my one friend there has a B&B, right, Minsu, and so I have talked with him about it, saying if there's something going on, I will come here. I want that room. It's my room, okay? And he's like, okay. So I have that certainty that there is a place for me, which is convenient, it's covered, it has independent water supply, electricity, don't know. But like I say, for me, it's not going to be that I arrive there and say, oh, now you have to help me. I arrive and I say, okay, what can I do? How can I help?
As I say, you are quite special and it's so ordinary. Even as a foreigner, you spend more than 20 years to make a strong connection with bureau, with your friends in tribe, so that you have somewhere to go once the war breaks out. But how about the average citizens in big cities? Most of them have already cut off their connection with their hometown, like in the village, in the rural area. They don't even have a hometown to go. So there will be a very difficult situation for them.
Absolutely. So for those people, the first idea, of course, is where are the spots that are most likely to be attacked, right? And that we can get a pretty good idea from. The big cities, the military installations, if you are living near a military base or a government office, those kind of things, then you are probably at higher risk than people who live in Zhongli, although I'm not thinking there's a military base there too, but you know what I mean, right? So there are Taiwanese, or even if just your grandmother lives in Pingdong, you know, you're probably better to go there.
Yeah.
You know. But now is the time to develop, like I said, those kind of connections and talk to people and say, hey, if anything happens, I'm going to come. What I found most of the time when you say, hey, if anything happens, I'm going to come, people say, nothing's going to happen. Nah, it's okay.
Okay.
And I just say, okay, but if, and then they say, yeah, okay, you know. So yeah, people don't like to be reminded. But also the option, the fourth level option, of course, is to leave Taiwan. And many people will, right? Locals and foreigners. And so people say, okay, the airport is probably one of the first things that will be attacked, so there won't be flights going. But that's not necessarily true. Like we saw in Ukraine as well, it's in the enemy's interest to allow corridors for civilians to get away. And for foreigners to get out. Because if they kill somebody from America, from Sweden, from Finland, whatever, then those countries are going to become involved in this war, and they don't want that, right? So it's in their interest to get non-combatants out, because it also means that after 3 weeks, when everybody has left who wants to leave, then they can say, oh, everybody who stayed behind is now a combatant, and we can just bomb the whole place.
Yeah.
You know. So have the option to leave Taiwan if that is something, if you have that option, right? Yeah. The fourth option is, of course, to stay and fight, which we can talk about another time. Yeah. But so the basic options for me actually comes down to three, especially for foreigners. So I always say, you bug in, you bug out, or you bugger off.
Yeah.
All right. So bug in means stay in your home, shelter in place is the term we use, right? Your food is there, your water, your people, your family, everything. Your pets. Pets is also things people have to think about. Bug out means you go to your place that you have prepared, where you can go and stay and see what happens in the war, right? And then number three is bugger off, which means leave the country.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's all about options. You know, you can't say, I'm going to do this one thing, and then something else happens, and then the one thing doesn't work, and then you're lost again. Yeah. It's just about, people think I'm paranoid. It's like, no, it's not about paranoia. I have personally experienced all of these things that I'm talking about, or very close friends of mine have experienced them. This is the real thing that really happens to real people.
You are not paranoid, you're a professional.
Right, yeah, and prepared. So for me, it's always been about being prepared, so that when something goes wrong, you have the things that you need in order to get over that.
Yeah. So, as you mentioned, we do have some options when the war breaks out. Yeah. So let's start with something that is easier for average people to prepare.
Yes.
So in advance especially. So what can we prepare now? Like as you said, in the first two levels of reaction.
Yes.
Go stay at home, but also go to some evacuation spot.
Yes.
I mean, in the city, your nearby shelter in your city. Let's talk about these two things.
Okay.
And what we prepare. You bring something to showcase the backup beds and also some important items, right? So maybe we can showcase those items to our audience, and you can also demonstrate some items if you feel necessary or appropriate.
Okay.
Okay. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay. Cool.
福摩沙学院自救救人，保健安眠。